So I completely forgot to review the iPhone 12, and so I thought, hey, it's better late than never, so let's delve into my thoughts 8 months after use. So yes, I've had this iPhone 12 since launch, and some of you guys may be wondering, wasn't your original iPhone 12 in white? Well, I returned that phone for the Pro Max, and I had that for a while, and then I kind of disliked the size, so I went back to the iPhone 12, except I got the red one instead. And well, I do prefer this red to the white. Now yes, I know there has been a lot of flack for the red this year, but I do like the corally nature to this red, and I do kind of prefer it to the deeper reds we had with the iPhone XR and the iPhone 11. And that brings me on to the design, because hands down, that's the best part about the iPhone 12. So here's a fun fact, this is the first ever iPhone that I'm using caseless since day one, because it's so good, I can't really put it in a case. I love the flat edges, I love how it feels in the hand with those matte aluminium edges, and so yes, I've been using this phone caseless since day one, and durability wise, it's surprisingly held up pretty well. So to begin with, the rails are completely perfect, not a single blemish. The glass back though has got a few scratches, though to be fair you can only see them in harsh lighting, and so it's not really a huge issue. But I will say I don't completely trust the phone, because the ceramic shield screen does scratch very easily, and so I did leave my screen protector on the phone, and I'm pretty glad I did, because there are a few cracks on the screen because of me dropping it, and so I'm glad it's the protector that's damaged and not the actual phone. But yes, overall I love the design, it looks absolutely amazing. The flat edges, as I said, are absolutely incredible. And I do want to say the notch does not bother me at all. I kind of forget it's there half the time, and so yeah, really I don't care if Apple makes a notch slightly smaller this year, because the notch never really bothered me to begin with. Now moving on to the OLED display, this was something I underappreciated with the iPhone 12 at launch. So I remember saying I could not tell a difference between the LCD panel on the iPhone XR and the 11 and the OLED display on the iPhone 12, but now, after using the iPhone 12 for a few months, I can 100% tell the difference now. I recently bought an iPhone XR for my brother and I was playing around with it, and the first thing I picked up on was the fact the display looked horrendous compared to the iPhone 12. But honestly, more than the colors and the contrast ratio of the OLED display, I appreciate the smaller bezels, because the older iPhone XR and 11 were pretty chunky phones, and for 6.1-inch devices, they were pretty large, and so I really appreciate the compact size, and that again is due to the OLED panel and the fact it allowed Apple to shrink the bezels. Anyways, moving on to the cameras, I'll be honest, I rarely leave the house in the first place, and so I haven't taken a ton of pictures with this phone, though do note, the cameras are excellent in the very rare instances I've used it, and yeah, pretty much like every iPhone for the last few years, this is a dependable camera system that's pretty good at everything. Oh, and selfie-wise, it's also pretty good, though again, I rarely take pictures of my face, so yeah, I'm not the selfie expert, but either way, it has been pretty good in my limited testing. And now we come to the performance, and honestly, I could just skip this section altogether, because I can't remember the last time I thought an iPhone was slow. So yeah, the iPhone 12 absolutely blazes through anything I throw at it, and honestly I do only use my phone for social media and of course staying in touch with friends and family, and so for my basic use the A14 coupled with 4 gigs of RAM is more than fine, and I have not had any performance issues with the iPhone 12. Now we come to the software, and I'm happy to say that unlike iOS 13, which was a complete dumpster fire for me, it was absolutely horrific and full of bugs, but thankfully iOS 14 has been pretty good so far. Anyways, moving back to the iPhone 12 itself, let's delve into battery life, and if you asked me this 2 weeks ago, I would have said, hey, the battery life is pretty decent, but now, after the iOS 14.6 update, the battery life on this phone has been pretty mediocre. Actually, it's been so mediocre that my battery health dropped from 100% to 98% in the space of a week. So yeah, this phone is having some serious battery drain issues and I don't know why. And so yes, for the time being, I do have to say the battery life is mediocre, though I'm really hoping that some future updates could bring back the battery life to what it was before, which was pretty good. I was easily getting 6 to 8 hours of screen on time, but now it's around 2 hours less, and that's a major difference. Right, so let's now move on to Face ID on the iPhone 12, because I do want to say it's not been too great. So as you might know, COVID is still a thing and people do have to cover their faces, and so because of that, Face ID just sucks outside. Now yes, I know the iOS 14.5 update did bring the ability to unlock your iPhone through the Apple Watch, but as you might see, I have no Apple Watch because I don't really find any use in having an Apple Watch, and so I would appreciate if the iPhone 13 came with a Touch ID scanner on the side, because I would appreciate having the best of both worlds. I do like the fact that Face ID is so seamless inside, but of course when I go outside with a mask, I would appreciate Touch ID for the extra convenience. Now I do also want to mention the speakers on the iPhone 12. They are absolutely incredible. I love watching movies and TV shows and videos with this phone, and I'm a huge fan of the speakers, so I thought I'd give them a shout out and just let you guys know how amazing they are. Also, one weird thing I noticed with the iPhone 12 series is the fact the Haptic engine feels a little worse than previous generations, because I would say the iPhone 11's Haptic engine was a 10 out of 10 for me, and well, this in comparison is an 8. Now that's pretty solid, but obviously it's not perfect like the iPhone 11 was, and I don't understand why Apple made a downgrade in this regard, since I do appreciate the fact my iPhone gives me a tingling sensation, and so I was a little sad that tingling sensation was a little worse than before. Anyways, my final category is overhyped features, and that is 5G and MagSafe. So let's begin with 5G. Now I've been using the sub 6 version of 5G, which is barely faster than 4G, and well, that's certainly been the case for me because number one, I rarely get a 5G signal in the first place, but number two, when I do, the speeds are not that great, and so yes, you really don't need 5G on the iPhone, and surveys have showed that people don't care about 5G on the iPhone, and so yes, don't buy the iPhone 12 solely for 5G because you will be very, very disappointed. As for MagSafe, I did use the puck for a little while, and well, it wasn't that great because it created a ton of heat, and also the wire was incredibly short, and so yes, on the whole, for £39, do not buy the MagSafe charger, buy a third-party alternative instead. I have an Anker charger that works amazingly well, and is way cheaper than the MagSafe charger, and so yes, definitely look elsewhere. So yeah, those are my thoughts on the iPhone 12, and overall I'm pretty happy with this phone. I think this phone is quite an all-rounder for me and my usage. It does everything I need an iPhone to do and more. So yes, I am pretty chuffed with it, but let me know in the comments below, do you have an iPhone 12 or any other iPhone 12 series model? And well, what's your thoughts on the device? Anyways, thank you for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe for the latest Apple news and rumors, and on that note, I'll see you guys in the next one. See ya, peeps!